Aileen Wuornos, a name that sends shivers down the spine of those familiar with her story. A name etched in the annals of American crime, synonymous with a tragic and violent legacy. Born in 1956, her life was a turbulent storm from the start. In a small town where dreams were supposed to flourish, her nightmares began. Abandoned by her parents, she endured a childhood marred by abuse and neglect. Michigan became her battleground, a place where innocence was lost and survival became her only goal. Forests whispered tales of her early struggles, teenage pregnancy, petty theft, and a growing reliance on prostitution to survive. Each tree, each shadow seemed to echo her cries for help. Each arrest, each mugshot chronicled her descent. The police stations became familiar haunts, places where her face was known but her story was misunderstood. Her thumb, calloused and scarred, bore witness to her hitchhiking days, days spent on endless highways, seeking refuge, seeking escape, a skeletal figure hardened by the elements and the streets, the harsh reality of homelessness etched into her very being. She was a phantom, drifting through the American underbelly. A ghostly figure, unseen and unheard, moving through the shadows of society. But beneath the rough exterior, a storm raged, a tempest of emotions, a whirlwind of pain and anger that threatened to consume her. A potent cocktail of abandonment, abuse, and societal indifference had ignited a fire within her, a fire that burned with a fierce intensity, fueled by years of suffering and neglect. A fire that would soon engulf her and those unfortunate enough to cross her path. Her life, a tragic tale of a woman pushed to the brink, serves as a haunting reminder of the darkness that can reside within us all. The year was 1989, a time when the world was on the brink of change. The Berlin Wall was about to fall and the Cold War was nearing its end. But in the sun-drenched state of Florida, a different kind of darkness was beginning to unfold. Florida's highways, baking under the relentless sun, became Aileen's hunting ground. These roads, seemingly endless and unforgiving, were the backdrop to a series of chilling events that would leave a permanent mark on the state's history. She, a predator in plain sight, moved through the world with a purpose known only to her. Aileen Wuornos, a name that would soon be etched into the annals of true crime, was on a mission that few could understand. Her weapon of choice, a .22 caliber pistol, small but deadly. This unassuming firearm became an instrument of her wrath, a tool she wielded with cold precision. Her victims' men, older, often unsuspecting. They were lured into a false sense of security, only to meet a fate they could never have anticipated. Johns, she claimed, who had abused or attempted to assault her. In her mind, each act of violence was a twisted form of retribution, a way to reclaim the power she felt had been stolen from her. Each encounter a deadly game of survival. The highways at night became a stage for these fatal confrontations, where the line between predator and prey blurred into obscurity. Richard Mallory, a known sex offender, became her first victim. His death marked the beginning of a spree that would shock the nation and draw the attention of law enforcement. His death, a brutal ballet of rage and desperation. The violence of the act was a reflection of the turmoil within Aileen, a storm that had been brewing for years. Aileen, the avenging angel, delivering her own twisted form of justice. The body count rose, each new victim a testament to her growing sense of vengeance and despair. Each victim another brick in the wall of her psychosis. The media painted her as a monster, but to Aileen she was merely surviving in a world that had shown her no mercy. Aileen, the hunted, had become the hunter. Her arrest marked the end of her reign of terror, but the questions about her motives and the true nature of her crimes lingered on. Her soul, a tapestry woven with threads of anger, paranoia, and a chilling detachment. Aileen Wuornos remains a figure of fascination and horror, a woman whose life and crimes continue to captivate and disturb. December 1989, the month that would mark the beginning of a chilling chapter in Florida's history. The body of David Spears, a construction worker, was found sprawled alongside a desolate highway. He had been working hard to support his family, but his life was cut short in a brutal manner. 6 bullets riddled his torso, a clear sign of the violence that had befallen him. The scene was gruesome, leaving investigators puzzled and horrified. His wallet, like those before him, was missing. This was a pattern that was becoming all too familiar to the authorities. The absence of personal belongings hinted at a possible motive, but the killer remained a mystery. Fear seeped into the Sunshine State. The whispers began. People were scared to travel alone, especially along the highways. Conversations at local diners were dominated by the latest news of the killings. A female serial killer, unthinkable. The very idea challenged societal norms and expectations. It was a concept that many found hard to grasp, yet the evidence was mounting. Yet the evidence was undeniable. The police were piecing together a chilling puzzle, each new piece bringing them closer to the truth. Aileen, a chameleon blending into the background, continued her grim work. She moved through the streets unnoticed, her appearance unremarkable, yet her actions were anything but. Charles Cascadon, a rodeo worker, became her next victim. He was a man who lived for the thrill of the rodeo, but his life ended in a way he could never have imagined. His truck, abandoned, held the gruesome evidence of Aileen's handiwork. The vehicle was a silent witness to the horror that had unfolded. The police were closing in, but Aileen, fueled by a potent mix of survival instincts and delusion, remained elusive. She was always one step ahead, evading capture with a cunning that baffled the authorities. Peter Seames, a retired merchant marine, vanished into thin air. He had seen the world from the deck of a ship, but his journey ended abruptly and mysteriously. His abandoned car, another breadcrumb on Aileen's trail of carnage. Each abandoned vehicle was a clue, a piece of the puzzle that the police were desperately trying to solve. The highway had become a graveyard, haunted by the spectre of a woman scorned. The once bustling roads were now shrouded in fear, each mile a reminder of the lives lost and the terror that gripped the state. 1990 dawned with a palpable sense of dread. The body of Troy Burress, a sausage truck driver, was found discarded like trash. His death, another stark reminder of the predator stalking Florida's highways. Dick Humphreys, a former police chief, met a similar fate. His disappearance, a chilling reminder that no one was safe. The media, sensing a macabre spectacle, descended upon Florida, hungry for every gruesome detail. Walter Geno Antonio, a truck driver, was the last to fall. His body, riddled with bullets, was discovered in a remote, wooded area. The reign of terror, it seemed, was finally coming to an end. January 1991. Aileen Wuornos, apprehended for outstanding warrants, became the prime suspect in the highway killings. Her face, plastered across newspapers and television screens, was instantly recognizable. Behind bars, Aileen's story unraveled. A tale of self-preservation, twisted by a history of abuse. She claimed self-defense, painting herself as the victim. The men, she insisted, had tried to harm her. Her words, a chilling mix of truth and delusion, captivated the nation. Was she a cold-blooded killer or a victim driven to desperate measures? The lines blurred as the world grappled with the complexities of her case. Section 6. Trial by Media Frenzy. The trial of Aileen Wuornos became a media circus. Cameras flashed, capturing every twitch, every tear. The public, both horrified and captivated, watched as Aileen, the damsel of death, took center stage. Her lawyers argued self-defense. They painted a picture of a woman pushed to the brink, a victim of circumstance. But the prosecution, armed with forensic evidence and Aileen's own chilling confessions, presented a different narrative. The jury's verdict was swift and merciless guilty. Aileen Wuornos, the woman who had once been invisible, was now condemned to death. The court of public opinion, however, remained deeply divided. Section 7. Death row and final appeals. Life on death row became Aileen's new reality. The clang of bars, the sterile walls, a constant reminder of her fate. But her spirit, though broken, refused to be silenced. Appeals were filed, each one a flicker of hope in the darkness. Her case became a lightning rod, igniting debates about capital punishment, mental illness, and the cyclical nature of abuse. Years turned into a decade. Aileen, her hair greying, her body frail, transformed into a macabre symbol of a justice system grappling with its own demons. But through it all, her voice, raw and unflinching, continued to resonate. Section 8. Aileen's Last Stand. In 2002, Aileen Wuornos decided to end the legal battle. She fired her attorneys, claiming she wanted to die. Her final days were a whirlwind of media interviews and last-minute appeals for clemency. On October 9th, 2002, Aileen Wuornos was executed by lethal injection. Her last words, a rambling statement of defiance and delusion, echoed through the death chamber. The woman who had lived her life on the fringes of society had finally found her voice, albeit in the face of her own demise. Section 9. Legacy of a Damsel of Death. Aileen Wuornos, monster or victim? The question lingers, as haunting as her vacant stare in those now infamous mugshots. Her story, a cautionary tale of a life spiraling out of control, continues to fascinate and repel in equal measure. Did she deserve to die? The debate rages on. But one thing is certain, Aileen Wuornos, the Damsel of Death, left an indelible mark on the American psyche. Her story, a stark reminder of the human capacity for both darkness and despair, continues to resonate long after her final breath.